Health Monday with Jared and Jacob. One thing right out of the chute, we got to get a different mugshot of you guys. I mean, y'all have, you haven't aged. You're looking actually younger than you did in the intro.
I'm a lot more pale, though. Did you notice that? Yeah.
There is no picture you can take of us that's going to end up good. Might as well just stick with what we got.
Yeah. I've heard this term a lot and don't know a whole lot about it. Neuropathy. What is this?
Well, neuropathy is a fancy word for nerve damage, right? You guys know about nerve damage. Neuropathy is just a technical term for it. And you guys know that we all have nerves. Our nerves send signals from our brains.
You get on mine.
Top that one, buddy.
I don't know where to go with that. Our nerves, right, send signals from our brains to the rest of our bodies. They tell the rest of our bodies what to do. And so when those nerves are damaged, then obviously it can affect how our body functions.
Mm-hmm. Well, what causes neuropathy?
There's three primary ones. There's traumatic injury. Something happened to you. We can't prevent that. Just something happens and it causes damage to your body, broken bones, whatever else, and nerve damage. And that happens. Certain infections can get bad enough or linger long enough that they cause nerve damage. And those two reasons, they're real and they exist and they happen. However, the vast majority is the third cause that I'm going to mention, and that is uncontrolled blood sugar, diabetes. Diabetes, by far and away, is the number one cause of neuropathy and neuropathic issues, to the point that 50% of everyone with diabetes sitting there right now already has some form of nerve damage, whether they know it or not.
What part of the body does it normally affect?
Well, there are multiple types of neuropathy. To make this simple, we're really going to talk about two. The most common type of neuropathy is peripheral neuropathy. You guys may hear the term diabetic peripheral neuropathy, but peripheral neuropathy, if I say that too many times, I'm going to be in bad shape. So I think I'll just say nerve pain. Right?
Yeah, nerve pain.
Most commonly affects the feet. That's far and away number one, but you also have the hands, the arms, and the legs. That's by far the most common. So when you start to see people complain of tingling or the pins and needles type sensation or the numbness in the feet. Sometimes people will say that they feel like they have socks on, but they don't. Those kind of feelings are indication of peripheral nerve pain in the feet. And so this is the thing, and I think you'll find this interesting because we talk about this every day at work. This is really one of the things that can eventually lead to amputation of a diabetic's foot, because what happens is you get to a place where you can't feel what's going on down there. You may develop some sort of blister or some other sort of sore that turns into an infection. And then next thing you know, you don't know it's there because you can't feel it. The next thing you know, that infection's gotten so out of control that amputation has to occur. And so if you're diabetic and you are listening to this, and these things have not happened to you yet, please heed the warnings and do what we ask you to do here in just a few minutes.
Jacob, why the feet and why other parts of the body as well?
Well, so first one there, why the feet? Honestly, I'm going to make this like dummy simple because that's the way I understand things, is dummy simple, right?
I'm just not even going to comment on that because there's nothing to be said.
Right. Yeah. He's just going to let... That's nice. See, I took a shot at him this morning.
He's right back at you.
I'm turning the other cheek.
Yeah, he's turning the other cheek.
He's coming. You get ready.
Yeah, it's an ugly cheek, but he's turning it. All right. The reason feet, nerves, all start in your central nervous system, brain, spinal cord, right? And they run the rest of your body. The further you get from the center of activity, the more trouble you get with it. Circulation issues, nerve issues, everything. The further you get from your central here, the more problem you get. And that's why the feet. But the second question is what else is affected? We see this every day, even not as often as we see foot pain with diabetes, but we see people come in that we've known have had diabetes for a while, and they'll come in with a new prescription, and it's going to be something for their stomach. Every time I eat, I get nauseated. I just don't have any appetite. Every time I eat, I throw up. I must have some kind of stomach problem. Well, that's nerve damage from diabetes, as those nerves that run to your stomach. A new prescription for bladder control issues. I must have something wrong with my bladder. Well, you do, but it's nerve damage from uncontrolled diabetes. My eyesight's failing. My eyesight's just getting worse. Maybe it's just age. Well, maybe, but a lot of times it's nerve damage from uncontrolled diabetes. Same thing with your heart, with your, and it's a family show, with your sex organs, greatly affected by this. All that is controlled by nerves running from your central nervous system to these organs. And if you let your diabetes go uncontrolled over time, you're going to lose function of all these things.
Let's talk about risk factors this morning.
Well, obviously, what we're talking about far and away is diabetes. So Jacob said that the main causes are traumatic injury, there are certain types of infections, and there are diabetes. Diabetes is the number one risk factor that you can control. Then you have out of control blood pressure, you have physical inactivity, you have being overweight, you have high cholesterol, all right? Those are things we talk about on this show probably every single month, right? But diabetes, far and away number one, those other things can also contribute.
How can that be prevented, or how can I delay getting neuropathy, or can I?
You absolutely can, and you definitely want to. It's the old the old Christmas Carol, where the ghost of Jacob Marley comes back to tell Ebenezer Scrooge, hey, you don't want to be where I am. You don't want this to happen to you. And so we'll have people come to the store, boy, I wish I'd known these things. Well, okay, so let's know these things. We've already mentioned several of them. Check and keep your blood sugar down. Same thing with cholesterol and blood pressure. Well, how do I know I've got issues with these? Go to the doctor. Some people just don't go to the doctor. Go to the doctor and get all these things checked. Okay, so keep those three things, in line. Exercise, eat right, don't smoke, don't drink. All these things that we say with most every long-term disease we talk about are true here as well. And one that really, I can't hammer home enough. How can I prevent this? Simply take your simple medicines for your problems while they're simple. Well, my doctor told me I have high blood pressure. I need to take this one-a-day pill, but I don't feel bad, so I don't really care to take my medicine. Okay, well, 10 years down the road, we're going to have a problem. Same thing with my sugar, my cholesterol, whatever. So go to the doctor, find out what's wrong with you, and while it's still a simple problem, take your simple medicines.
Wow. Speaking of medicine, are there medications available for this?
Well, there are. Make sure I word this correctly. There are medications, to prevent this. Those are your diabetic medications. Those are your blood pressure medications. Those are your cholesterol medications, the medications that Jake just talked about. So to be clear, is there something I can do about this prevention-wise, medication-wise? Yeah, take the medicines your doctor's asking you to take. I think it's interesting that there are so many complications of diabetes long-term that we talk about, and almost every one of them is related to this, right? Your eyesight, your digestion, your feeling in your hands and feet, all these things, your long-term heart health. And then to finish the question about medications, there are medications that help with the pain of neuropathy. You don't want to get there though, because they can't totally eliminate it. So there are prescription medications that help, but they're not going to cure it. Yeah.
Wow. Neuropathy. Main cause is diabetes. We could talk for a week on diabetes itself.
And still not cover it all.
Yeah, and that's a topic for another day. But first thing that someone needs to do if they're sensing or feeling symptom, where do they need to go first?
Good question. Now, the simple answer is your regular doctor, so we can find out what all's going wrong. But we can't emphasize enough in this instance. And people sometimes, they don't have this in their mind. We have podiatrists. They're foot doctors. That's what they do. And their job is for people, especially in this boat, they will check your feet for you. They will check to see if there's anything leading to a sore or a problem that you're not aware of. They can even trim and deal with your toenails for you if you can't reach them or are physically unable to do that for you. Medicare pays for these kind of things. And so people don't often think, hey, we have foot doctors right here in town. That's not one of the first things that pops into people's head, but go see them. Let them look at this. Go to your regular doctor. Let's get all your problems figured out. But let the foot doctor check the condition of your feet, maybe problems that are occurring. They can test for how well you're feeling things, if you're not feeling as well, and what to watch out for, give you some pointers. Yeah, we take advantage of these things.
And finally, Jared, I'm assuming that neuropathy is going to affect an older person more than younger.
That's probably the one thing I didn't mention on risk factors, that it is more common once you get older. And one more thing I'll say, Jake mentioned this about podiatrists trimming the toenails. Taking care of your toenails is a big deal when you're a diabetic, and it's a big deal as you get older anyway, because it becomes more difficult for you to see, more difficult for you to get down there and to deal with. But if you think about just one example, you think about an ingrown toenail. Of course, there's pain associated with that, but a lot of times ingrown toenails can become infected. If you have neuropathy, the ingrown toenail becomes infected, you may not be able to feel it, right? And then next thing you know, you've got an infection that causes a big deal, a big problem. So can't stress enough, taking care of your feet, letting your doctor look at your feet, seeing a podiatrist if you have any of these issues.
Wow. Great info this morning. Thanks, guys, for coming this morning, and I look forward to it again next month. That is Health Monday with Jacob and Jared from Marble City Pharmacy here in Sylacauga. More after this.